What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 58, jump scare, 58 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside Dev.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, Dev?
Not much. The usual.
Tired.
Tired. Yep.
Real tired. You know what I'm tired of?
What are you tired of?
I'm tired of video games not launching correctly. Because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront, the Classic Collection. I've played it. I've shown Devro it. I have thoughts, and we're going to get into it. And then we're also going to talk about Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I'm about 24 hours in, and I'm ready to give some thoughts on that as well. So, Dev, let's start off with Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection.
Okay.
Now, this is a collection of the original 2 Star Wars Battlefront games made by Pandemic Studios. Pandemic was, they closed down a long time ago, but they were, excellent developers. These guys made the Battlefront games, Saboteur. If you ever played Saboteur, that's a great game. I believe they also were the studio that made the original Destroy All Humans games.
Okay.
So, yeah, Pandemic, great studio. That unfortunately closed down a long time ago. But so, this collection comes from, I guess it's Asper. I've always called it Aspire. But it's from this studio that's been doing these Star Wars ports.
Yeah, they do a lot of ports.
They do a lot of Star Wars ports. Most of them I've played. I don't have a lot of issues with. But unfortunately, there are a lot of issues with Star Wars Battlefront, the Classic Collection. So this game got announced literally weeks ago at the Nintendo Partner Direct, where everyone was looking forward to the Xbox first-party games. So no one was expecting this, out of left field.
Yeah.
They said that it was the 2 games packaged together as a bundle, and it was going to have 64-player online multiplayer, which, growing up playing it on the PS2, it did not have that. I think the PC version had it.
I think that was the thing you were most looking forward to with this.
Yeah, I was just I loved playing this game, and I would love to get in there with 63 other people and play this game.
Yeah. 32v32 sounds like a lot of fun.
Because, for the record, so, when I was a kid, right, when you know how, you first leave that Nintendo bubble? For me, it was, I got a PS2, and the 2 games I had were this and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Okay.
And, these 2 games were, I played them so much growing up.
Yeah. It's
it got to a point where, my PS2 habits were literally those 2 games and whatever wrestling game was out at the time. It was those 3 games. Just
in constant rotation.
Yeah, in rotation. So I was really looking forward to this.
Did you play? I think we talked about this last time. Did you play this online? Was there an online component
back then?
Yeah.
No, like I said, when I played on the PS2, I had never played it online.
Okay.
To my knowledge, there may have been some, PS2 days did have online. There may have been a way to do it, but I didn't play it that way. So I'm gonna go into my experiences, and then I also have a few articles kind of to help us have all the information together. So I was really excited. I booted up the game on launch day. So I actually pre-ordered this. And I did that because on the Xbox shop, it was 10% off to pre-order it.
Okay.
Which I didn't really think much of because I've seen it happen with other games where it's hey, this game's 10% off before launch. Not super surprised. So I pre-ordered it and played it on launch day. And it wasn't good. It was not good. The servers were just god-awful. Just atrocious. Couldn't get it working. Is this B-roll from the original game or from the collection?
This is from the collection.
Okay. So, playing it, Battlefront 2 was the one that I played growing up. I actually didn't have the original Battlefront, so I originally booted up Battlefront 2 because I wanted to get right into some multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my experience. So I booted it up, and I just hit quick search. And then the quick search failed. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, but it's a launch day. Like, I can understand some people were playing it, so whatever. So I launch again to a quick search. Get into a game, and it's the hero mode, which was cool. Like, I like the hero mode, but I also wanted to kind of get into just some straight up regular multiplayer. Played the game. It was like almost over. Got like 5 or 10 minutes in, and I was like, okay, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Never played this with other people before like this, so this was really cool. At that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to create a server search because I want to play like regular multiplayer modes. So I go to do that, and I showed you it today.
Yeah.
You go to search for any type of input that you want to play, and the search function crashes the game. Try it like 2 or 3 times, and it crashes. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me just go back to trying to play it. So I go back and I hit quick search, and it's unable to find a game. And I'm like, oh no. And then eventually I get into a game, and I was hit with a bug that would not let me spawn in. So there's a countdown, like a timer, to spawn in after you die.
Oh.
And it's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and it got down to 1.
And it just stays
there? It just stayed at 1.
Oh.
And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? It didn't work. Loaded up Battlefront 1, got into a game, and then I was having like detection issues, like hit detection issues, which I heard was common in the Battlefront 2 version, but I was kind of experiencing in the first one. The first one, it was also really laggy, which not on my end because I use a wired connection to my Series X, so I know it wasn't me. So yeah, just had a lot of problems with that, and then the server started acting up, and I was like, okay, this really sucks. Since then, Aspire has put a statement out in regards to it, and we're gonna get into it, what they said and stuff. But so I read their statement, and I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. To be a little positive, the campaigns work, and they are what they are, which is great. Again, I've never played the original Battlefront once, but there was some jank, but that's to be expected from like a 20-year-old game. Battlefront 2, though, played like I remembered it, looked great in terms of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And you were here too. I was playing and was having a good time.
Yeah.
Can't really complain about that. So for me, though, it is the multiplayer that's just kind of unplayable right now, which is really unfortunate because it is the big selling point. I do have the original Battlefront 2 via backwards compatibility. Like I've went out and bought the original Xbox version like years ago, and so like I have it. I could boot it up. So it's really disappointing that you're paying $30 because again I got 10% off. So instead of $35, I paid $30 for a multiplayer that does not work. Very disappointing. And I was joking before we went live that man, this is why it sucks buying digital because at least if I bought it physical, I could have a case to put on the wall and decorate. Now I have nothing. I paid $30 for a digital piece of garbage. It doesn't work. It's like, buy physical.
Or just wait for reviews.
In my defense, they're 20-year-old games.
Yeah, but that's what you should.
Also, I also have a really good track record with picking apart good from bad games. This one, like, yeah, I got to hold the L on this one. But I was just like, this felt like such a sure thing that it was going to be good. It's like, oh, okay, it's probably just the PC port from 20 years ago ported to consoles.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought it was. And, like, maybe it is, but it's got some big issues. Forrest has got to read those contracts, kids. So, let's dive into this from Windows Central. So, what was supposed to be a celebratory re-release of some of the best Star Wars games of all time, and I actually do agree with that statement,
okay.
Has become something of a disaster for developer Aspire Media. The Battlefront Classic Collection, a $35 bundle that includes updated versions of Pandemic Studios' Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 from 2004 and 2005 respectively, launched late on Wednesday evening, but was immediately plagued by some severe server issues. Only 3 official multiplayer servers on each of the game's platforms were available for its opening hours, and while more came soon after, they've proven to be very unreliable thus far. There are widespread reports of frequent disconnects, which I experienced, along with significant desync problems, instances of rubber banding, and bugs preventing players from joining teams and or spawning. Again, all of that I firsthand experienced. As a result, the collection has immediately fallen to the dark side, nosediving to a mostly negative Steam rating on PC, with only 20% of its reviews being positive. Things are looking similar on Xbox, with a 2.5 out of 5 star review. The PlayStation version is faring a little bit better, with an overall rating of 4.19 out of 5. And Nintendo Switch doesn't have user reviews, which they should, actually. It's kind of weird that Nintendo doesn't have user reviews on their storefront.
Yeah, but I can't imagine it's running any better on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my god, no way. No way, not a chance. Not a chance in the world.
Yeah.
As of now, the multiplayer, otherwise known as the only reason to buy this product if you already own the original games, like me, is entirely unplayable, making this game a waste of money until the issue is fixed. Disappointing, writes Steam user Kitsune Kami. Other reviews, like this one from Night Night, echo the sentiment. Currently, game is totally unplayable. Even if you manage to get into a server, players cannot spawn. Not sure if it's a cheater/denial thing, bugged gameplay, or both. User Dinkelberg asserts that this is probably one of the worst launches of all time. So aside from the bonus maps and heroes and the ability to play Hero Assault on all the maps instead of just Mos Eisley, the main draw of Classic Collection is its support for 64-player servers. There have double the number of slots compared to the servers in the classic games, but, as user Sean Penn says, with multiplayer completely broken, you might as well just play the original versions. And right now, Windows Central says that they are inclined to wholeheartedly agree. So, a rough place for them right now. Kind of to dive a little bit deep, imagine if it's perfect on the Switch. This is the best version.
There's no user reviews either, so you'll never know.
So it's so I was watching Angry Joe play this this morning. I was watching his stream where he was, or not stream, but his rant about it. Mm-hmm. So he got into a game of Heroes versus Villain Assault, and he was having some crazy audio issues that I wasn't having. He got onto a match on Dagobah, which is like where Luke finds Yoda, and that it's a swamp planet. And he gets in there, and the music is playing the Cantina from Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun.
That's an okay glitch.
And he was like, "What is going on?" He thought that his producer or editor or whatever
added the music,
put the music on. He's like, "We're gonna get copyright. What are you doing?"
That's funny.
He's like, "That's not me. That's the game. That's coming from the game." So yeah, not fun. No way. Okay, I was gonna say my next article, which had to do with Star Wars, didn't load and said like connection issues. I was like, stop it, VGC. Stop committing to the bit. Anyways, how bad were the servers? Well, they were really bad. Here's some numbers for you. So according to social media users, when the game launched, some modes featured a maximum of 3 servers to accommodate the entire community. Over 20,000 people were playing this on PC at launch. So they had 3 servers. So 64. Well, so VGC does the math. So if you do the math, only 192 people were available to access the multiplayer out of 20,000.
Do you think that's the issue? They weren't not enough servers is causing a lot of these issues.
I do think that that's a big issue. Clearly, I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how you don't see that as a problem. It's like, oh, we'll just launch this game with enough for 3 full matches to play. It's like, these are some, and again, I stand behind this. Like, outside of the Rogue Squadron games and the Jedi Outcast games, these are the greatest Star Wars games of all time. But I know that I am definitely not the only one, clearly, because 20,000 people on PC alone went and downloaded this game at launch because they were so excited the thought of playing these games with 64-player multiplayer.
I have to also imagine, you pre-ordered it, right?
Yeah.
So more than 200 people definitely pre-ordered the game.
That's what I'm saying.
And you didn't know?
Yeah, you had no idea?
They probably they have to know, and they just we're getting our money worth. We'll fix it later. I think that's kind of the state of games anyway.
I guess, but it's not.
It's not good.
It's not good at all.
No,
I don't think it's acceptable at all.
We'll fix it later is just kind of the model for gaming today.
Yeah, so it was really unfortunate. Players were also reporting that in large number of matches, the stuttering becomes so bad they're skipping around the level, making shooting impossible. It's not good. It's just not good. Three servers for each console, or each platform. Excuse me. So they did end up putting out a statement, which I have to pull up real quick. Where did it go? It's because we're talking about this buggy game. These links are taking forever to load today. There we go. So
yeah, it's a bad model to have to like. We'll just put out a broken game and fix it later. But
yeah, it's
people keep paying for it, so it's like, I don't know.
I just can't wait for the series finale of video games, Grand Theft Auto 6, to come out, and then that's it. There's no more video games after that. It's the last video game. We'll talk more about that later.
Are you sure it's a series finale and not
the season finale?
Yeah.
No, well, I'm tuning out of the show at that point.
You sure it's not the pilot episode of
Anyways,
the next show?
So Aspire Media does come out and they say on their website, "We'd like to thank the Battlefront community for their overwhelming support and feedback for Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection release. At launch, we experienced critical errors with our network infrastructure. The result was incredibly high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. Since launch, we've been working to address these issues and increase network stability, and we will continue our efforts until our network infrastructure is stabilized to prevent further outages." And then they also put a request form at the bottom where you can report bugs, errors, and of the sort. I mean, again, it's just like, I don't think it's acceptable to put out a broken game and just patch it later.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, like, when the game eventually does work, I am going to go play it because I bought it. So, I mean, like, I'm sure eventually I'll get to play that 64-player multiplayer that I really want to get my hands on. Like, man, like, look how cool this game is. It's like, you're watching the B-roll right now. It's just like, this game just looks great. And, like, it plays great when it works. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's a shame because, like, I really was excited to come on the podcast and actually talk about good experiences with it. Because, again, like, I really felt like this was a sure thing. It's like one of those, and, like, a lot of the people online were also that same sentiment where it's like, how do you mess this up? Like, you're just porting 20-year-old PC games.
Yeah. It's
some work under the hood. You clean up the graphics a little bit, add some servers, and you let it go. You let it do its own thing. So, yeah, that's Star Wars Battlefront, the Classic Collection. I want to be able to recommend it, but without the multiplayer, like, I just can't. What I will recommend is that you go and buy Battlefront 2 on backwards compatibility. That can't be much. I can't imagine that costs money. I'm actually going to look it up real quick. There's no way this costs a lot of money on Xbox.com, so let me see real quick.
But what if they want the multiplayer? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So my point is that if you, like, I recommend playing the single player, like, definitely, but, like, without the multiplayer working, like, do not buy this. Do not buy this. Like, if you ask me to review it today, like, it's going to get, like, a 2 out of 10. And, like, that 2 is out of pity because the campaign is great. It is there. But, like, I really can't sit here and recommend Star Wars Battlefront, the Classic Collection as a whole, if, like, it just doesn't work. Like, the whole selling point is the multiplayer. So, hold on. I do want to see. Star Wars Battlefront 2. No, it's going to show me the EA ones first. Hold on.
What? Those are $10? The EA ones? Those are pretty good. Oh,
here it is. No, so the original on Xbox
is $10.
This is the one right here. So the OG Star Wars Battlefront 2. So just Battlefront 2, but let's be honest, that's the good one. It's the sequel. It's way better, in my opinion, at least. It's $10.
Okay.
So for $10, you can go get what works with this $35 game. You can go and get that for $10 right now on the same marketplaces.
All right.
Well, at least the Xbox. I don't know if it's on PlayStation Marketplace. I don't think it is. But Xbox, it definitely is. It's right in front of me. So, I would rather actually spend $23 for Pinball FX3 Star Wars Pinball. Looks like it's got Kylo Ren and Rey. And a young Han Solo on it. That sounds like fun.
Nice.
It's got to work better than Battlefront the Classic Collection. So, very disappointing from the developer Aspire there. Gotta be better, you know. It's just like not really acceptable. But you think that would be all, Devro, with Star Wars Battlefront the Classic Collection, right?
It has to be, right?
What if I told you that a modder is claiming that Aspyr used his work in this re-release without his permission. Well, you'd be right. It did, in fact, happen. The following comes from VGC. Prior to release, modder Llama Shaman claimed... That's a great name. I love when we get to read names on the show.
Yeah.
Where it's like usernames. Like some people are so clever.
Llama Shaman.
I'm not that clever. I can never come up with a clever username like that. Anyways, prior to the release, the modder said that footage of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection that appeared in the trailer suggested that the developer Aspyr was using his mod. Following this, Aspyr released a statement claiming that it had mistakenly used footage of the mod and that it was a placeholder. Now, following the full release, players appear to have discovered evidence that prior to a very last-minute patch, the game did in fact ship with uncredited mod work in it. Footage noticed by IGN shows a player on Reddit showing off the character Asajj Ventress, using what appears to be Llama Shaman's mod. And then there is a video on the link. You don't have to pull it up, but it's basically the character's movement. It was the mod.
Okay.
It wasn't what the original game had. Forrest, that tracks. Yes, indeed it does. While the current version of the game has removed these animations, Aspyr has yet to comment on how Llama Shaman's work appeared in the game, despite their claims that no uncredited work was done on the remaster project. On Friday, Aspyr addressed the criticism of the launch, encouraging players to report any issues. This is really not looking good for them. It just makes it seem even more low effort. Like, I don't want to be rude or disrespectful because making video games is hard, and I'm sure that even porting video games takes a level of skill to do. That being said, it will always baffle me when these ports of games, especially the older ones, come out and they're just broken, and it just shows a lack of effort, because it's like, oh well, we're just gonna take PC versions from mods. Of course, Ty, the shareholder, comes in and says, do you even have to credit this legally? The mod is still the IP of the rights holder. No, I would argue that the mod itself was work done by the modder, so you should credit the modder's work. Like, he should be
whether or not you pay him.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to pay him necessarily, but you should at least credit the modder. Like, if it's his work in the game, then yes, you should. Like, that there is an issue there, not crediting him at the very least.
Yeah, because I guess it's not content he created. It's just something it's a mod. Like,
well, technically it is content he created.
Well, no, but I mean, he
created the movement.
The movement, yeah, that's what
game.
I meant. The movement isn't licensed to Star Wars at all.
Exactly, his work is not licensed to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or their work. I don't know. I'm not going to assume. Their work isn't
Llama's work.
The llama, the work of the llama.
Yeah.
Or no, the shaman of the llama. He's a llama shaman.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference. Put some respect on his name. Their name. Yeah, I mean, so it sucks. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. Again, if I had to give it a review score right now, 2 out of 10. Pay $10, play Battlefront 2, the original.
And just get the story.
Yeah. Which, again, for the record, a really cool campaign. Really loved playing the story. I started it up while you were sitting here getting ready for the show.
Yeah.
Loved every minute of it. So, play it. Play the original. Let's move on to number 2, which is my... I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for a little bit and give you a chance maybe if you want to ask any questions or anything. So, I'm about 24 hours in. Ty says, I agree, it's good to credit, but still, it is a mod, which uses the IP's code that belongs to Lucasfilm's game, right? I would say no, because mod work is still work done by that person. So, like, even if it's in the confines of the IP, the modder can't monetize it, but that doesn't mean that it's not the modder's work.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. I'm not sure how that works.
Well, Llama Shaman, if he wants to sue, could find out. So, yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And about 24 hours in, and I gotta say, like, I'm really loving my time with this game.
That's good.
Just really loving it. It's, yeah, Forrest is right. Then don't use the mod.
Which you said they patched out, right?
Yeah, they did patch it out after people noticed that it was there, and then they don't say anything. They just get rid of it. And they're just like, "What are you talking about?"
I wonder if it was even on purpose. I wonder if they just like, hey, this is kind of cool. Let's just add this to our game. And then someone called them out, and they're like, yeah, we got to take this back.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So again, 24 hours in, and I'm playing it, and I just reached Costa del Sol. Sorry, excuse me. Which is like the third area of the game.
Okay.
Technical third area. And so like, right from like over the 24 hours, like my number one observation is, I love how this game is about the characters in the game, if that makes sense. I know that sounds really silly, but the characters and the narrative, it's just...
Like, it's very character-driven?
It's very character-driven, and, like, the relationship between all the characters in this group, so obviously Cloud and Aerith, Tifa, Barrett, Red, everybody, it's great. And so...
Those are the best RPGs, like, when it's character-based, yeah. I think.
I think that 7 Remake and Rebirth are doing, like... What they're remaking from the original is that they're expanding on things that I wish the original did more. And I think that like that in it, like it makes it stand on its own legs. And obviously the game does follow a different story, and there's a story about how it follows the different story. I don't want to get too into all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I just love spending time with these characters. I love being out in the open world. And like you go and you do things, and on the way to do things, like the characters will have some conversations and things like that, and it's just great world building. You know what I mean? It was funny because I think I said it to you last week, and I was just like, man, people like freak out about like Breath of the Wild's open world or whatever. Like I would take this open world 100 times out of 100. I just think it's a much better world to spend time in. Personally, it's just I love spending time in the open world. There is some busy work to it. It's one of those open world busy work games. So like if you don't like that, like that might be an issue for you. Doesn't really bother me as long as it's well organized, which for me it is. But so I mean that was one thing that I loved. A lot of open world busy work. A lot of mini games. Some of which are great. We talked about Queen's Blood last week. Fucking love Queen's Blood. Like I need them to make its own game, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because like I would definitely buy a Queen's Blood game.
Okay.
I just love doing it. Like I'll be playing, and you'll get to a town, and like one of the first things I'll do, they'll be like, "Oh hey, there's more Queen's Blood players here," and I'm just like, "All right, I gotta go play some Queen's Blood."
They should I didn't they do that with The Witcher? They made it an app where you can just play that game.
I think so.
The card game they have. I don't remember the name of it.
Card games are big right now. They're really big. You got Baltro, I think was what it's called. It's a big hit, and
you have the Marvel one, which is pretty big.
Marvel Snap,
yeah.
And then this is really good. There's another one, Sleight of Hand got announced at the Xbox Partner Showcase, where it's like a third-person stealth game, but it's like card builder as well, or deck builder. It's just like Queen's Blood is fantastic. Not all of the mini games hit like as good as Queen's Blood,
mm-hmm.
like Fort Condor. Fuck Fort Condor. I know some people might like that mini game. It was so frustrated. Gwent, that's another good example. Gwent is from The Witcher, isn't it?
Yeah, Gwent is the Witcher one, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'm loving playing this game, and it's so funny to me because I beat Final Fantasy 16 like right before this. Like we talked about it, like January/February, I did Final Fantasy 16, and I didn't really enjoy it that much, like on its own, because I was like playing, I'm like, it's not very good. Like it's fine. Like the narrative's really good, and like some of the cutscenes are pretty badass. But like, you just
weren't into the action.
Yeah, but they lean into the action, and I don't think it's a very good action game personally.
Okay.
I find it to be very mindless. This game though, like by comparison, it makes me hate 16 even more, because like I'm playing this game and I'm just so in love with playing this game. Like I love the combat system. It's so engaging. So thoughtful, thought-provoking. I do play with the there's like 2 modes, one where you can kind of just give the action commands, and the other one is like you can just straight up go in and do the actual movement, and I do the actual movement. So that's just, I don't know how many people play that way though, but I love this game. I love playing the...
Is the movement more fast-paced? It sounds like it is.
I would then 16.
No. You said like there's 2 ways to play. There's one with.
I haven't played it the other way.
Okay.
They asked you at the beginning of the game, and they had it for 7 Remake too, and I've never tried it, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how much fast paced it is or whatever. Orlog and Assassin's Creed, I've heard of that. I did play that. That was from Valhalla. I definitely played Orlog at some point over my 3 months playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Terrible. Just terrible game. God awful.
Terrible game.
I hated
2,000
it. 3 months. 3 months. Hated it. Can't stand it. Yeah, but no, so that was great. For me, it's just like the gameplay, the music, the story. Like, I was playing and I was in Junon, which, if you know Final Fantasy, you know Junon. If you haven't played 7, then you don't know. But I was playing the section in Junon today, and I was just like, I just love this fucking game so much. Like, I could just, like, and for me, that's always, like, a sign of, like, an excellent game, because it's like, I do find open worlds to be a little tedious at this point. I think a lot of developers feel a need to make their game open world, and it just doesn't really feel warranted. And, like, this is, like, a really rare, in 2024, occasion where, like, I can't imagine this game being anything else. Like, it's just so well done. The world is so crafted. Gorgeous world. The foliage is incredible. You look at the B-roll right now, like, the grasslands are just covered in foliage, and game looks great, plays great. Haven't really had any issues so far. I thought the game was going to be a little bit, based off some of the reviews, I kind of felt like it was going to be a lot less like main narrative to kind of focus on, because it's like the middle of the trilogy, and it's in the middle of adventure. Now, keep in mind, granted, I'm 24 hours in, so I don't know. Maybe the story is going to slow down a little bit, but I'm finding myself with a great ratio of like things to do.
Like main story and side stuff?
And
okay.
then, and
that's the best.
And the side stuff actually has pretty decent storytelling around it, too. So, yeah, it's just, I've really been loving it. I did want to take a few minutes to talk about it. I'm not going to give, like, a final review score today, because, again, 24 hours in.
Yeah.
I know I've read people playing this for, like, up to 100.
Okay.
So, for all I know, I'm only a fifth of the way through. I don't know. I'm off tomorrow. I'm probably going to try to sink in another 6 or 7 hours to it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, right now that's how I feel about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Just an excellent game. It should come to Xbox. Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you have a W like this for your game, I don't think you port this over. I don't think this is coming to Xbox for a very long time, if ever.
Yeah, probably not. But it would be cool if Square Enix did that. I would buy it again. I will double dip. And I'll double dip 3 times. I'll buy the trilogy again on Xbox.
Just to play this game?
To play it on my preferred console and get the achievements for it. Yeah, absolutely. They're that good. I would have no problem for great games to do that. But Queen's Blood, there is a possibility, according to the director of the game, that there might be some Queen's Blood expansions. So I was talking about Queen's Blood. We talked about it. And such a cool card game. Not going to get into the details of like the rules and stuff, but it's so much fun to play. And it's like, it's an interesting thing because when I lose, I don't really feel like cheated per se. Which is like the best kind. Like, I don't like feeling cheated in a loss. Sometimes video games can get kind of cheap with their challenges. And I'm playing this card game, and if I ever lose, I'm just like, okay, well, I got to remember that he has that card. Or I got to remember that that's the strategy that this opponent uses. So it's been a big hit. You can like go to stores and buy packs and buy like boosters and stuff like that, which is like, again, like there's a whole trading card game in this game. It's like insane.
Yeah, that's cool.
Speaking with Red Bull, because I guess Red Bull does gaming content still, which is kind of crazy. The director cited extremely positive fan feedback for the in-universe card game Queen's Blood. We haven't decided anything in terms of future development for Queen's Blood, Hamaguchi said as part of the interview. So far, the media who played it have provided very positive feedback on it. So, we want to consider further expansions as a possibility. That's all he said. So, okay. I would love to see some Queen's Blood games or something of the sort. But yeah, Queen's Blood's great. And so is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So definitely play it. But we'll touch base on Rebirth again in the future.
Okay.
Number 3 on the headlines. Sony, and this came out last night actually, slow news week, and then last night Sony was like, all right, nothing happened this week. Let's just stop making PSVR. The following comes from The Verge. After producing in excess of 2 million units of its latest virtual reality headset, Bloomberg is reporting that Sony is hitting pause on production to try and shift its unsold inventory. The PSVR 2 launched last February at $549 as an accessory for the PlayStation 5. Queen's Blood. What did I say? Did I not say Queen's Blood? Oh, sorry. Well, Queen's Blood. Did I say Queen's Blood? I don't know. Anyways. Oh, or maybe that's in relation to his last comment, which was, it would be silly to make expansions solely on PS5. They need to put it as a standalone on Steam and mobile. Anyways, PSVR 2. Bloomberg suggests that the problem is a lack of content for the headset. The PSVR 2 is compatible with a handful of AAA games, including Horizon Call of the Mountain, Gran Turismo 7, and entries in the Resident Evil series, as well as a range of smaller titles. But at $549, the headset costs more than a PS5 itself, so expectations are high. Bloomberg notes that Meta and Apple have faced similar content challenges with their own headsets. As well as pausing production, Sony's recent layoffs impacted teams that have worked on VR titles. It closed its London studio and the developer behind Horizon Call of the Mountain. Firesprite was also impacted. In total, the layoffs are expected to affect around 900 Sony employees, or 8% of its total headcount. In an attempt to increase the amount of content available for its headset, Sony recently announced that it's testing PC support, offering the ability for PSVR 2 players to access additional games on PC. It's currently unclear how widespread the headset's support for PC titles might be, but support is planned for later this year.
I mean, I think they would sell a lot more units if they ported it to PC, had it working on PC.
So when I see PSVR 2, man, I just think like a perfect storm of why it was going to fail. And you might disagree with me, but so like number one, VR is still a very niche audience.
No, that
like,
is.
It is not mainstream.
Yeah, that's
and like,
true.
And here's the thing: like, you showed me the technology, and I am extremely interested in the technology now. That being said, it's a niche audience. Your asking price technically is over $1,000 because not only do you have to buy the PS5, you have to buy the $550 headset, and then you have to buy the games.
Yeah.
And then what games are there? Like, there's just not a lot of support, and it's really funny to me that PlayStation in its history have done a very poor job always supporting these side projects, whether it's the Vita and its handheld division, or like this where it's like VR. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they made this in the first place if they weren't going to support it. But like then again, like that just seems to be the way PlayStation does these things. So I always see this as a perfect storm. It's like,
and then they
small
put out
audience, too much money, and not enough to play on it.
Yeah, I mean, so they ported the old catalog of all the VR 1 games, and then they added a bunch of PC games. They bought some,
right?
And then they put out like 2 or 3 games. I think 4 games in the last like 2 years that this has been out.
So you got this B-roll, and I thought that was the paperclip from Microsoft Word for a second. It's like this giant metal thing. I don't know why. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. Maybe I'll go back to it. Hold on. Keep talking.
Yeah, so it's just, and like what Ty's saying here, VR is right now is mainly PC players. Like you have the Quest, it's standalone, but you're not playing it anywhere else. You're playing it on PC. So like, if they can sell the remaining, I don't know how many they have left, $500 for a PC VR headset is pretty good. Especially one as good as that headset.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right now. That's for me. The way I look at it is, I just think this is PlayStation cleaning their hands of it.
This could be, yeah.
I think that like they're like, hey, we're gonna put it in the PC market. Let the developers make games for it. We're just gonna have the stock we have available. I wouldn't be surprised if they never
make another PC. I mean, another VR game.
Not even that. I wouldn't be surprised if they never continue production again of these headsets. Like, I think that what's out there right now might be all that there is. That's just my thoughts on it. Number 4 on the headlines. Dev, while we were...
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
What's up, Jeff? What's going on, man? We got some PS5 specs that leaked. So we're gonna run through these real quick. PS5 Pro, excuse me. So over the week, Insider Gaming got the scoop on it. System memory, standard PlayStation has 448 gigabytes per second. The PS5 Pro is 576. 28% increase over the standard console. Also outlined is that the PlayStation 5 Pro's system memory is more efficient than the standard console. The bandwidth gain may increase by over 28%. The CPU is identical to the standard PS5. However, the Pro has a high CPU frequency mode, which takes the CPO to 3.85 gigahertz, 10% increase over the standard console. I'm not going to say or read a bunch of other numbers, but that was the stuff that was kind of pretty glaring. Insider Gaming goes on to say that it's also understood that as a means to make the PS5 Pro as competitive, and Insider Gaming makes it clear that's not his phrasing, that was the source's phrasing, as possible, it's going to have a detachable disk drive, which will be identical to the latest iteration of the standard PS5, and 1 terabyte of storage space. So, I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think that this generation of consoles warrants a mid-gen refresh? Because I don't think it does.
So the biggest upgrade there is the GPU. That's a huge upgrade. I think if you want
to look at the rest of the stats, that's it right there.
Yeah, and it lets you. I think it's okay to have a mid-gen. It does seem a little early, but I think it's okay as long as you can get rid of that. Either play performance mode or play fidelity mode. Get rid of that.
It should just be one thing.
Yeah, it should be one thing. You're playing 4K at 60 frames per second minimum, and if you can do that reliably, and it seems like it has some other things in there, ray tracing and all that stuff. Like these are all like nice to have.
Teraflops. They got some teraflops.
Yeah, if you can do that reliably though, I think it's fine. Like. It's a little early, but why not?
I don't think it's early. I just don't know if it's warranted. I mean, I think that this generation, on both sides, this is not a console thing, like a console war thing. Like I think both the PS5 and Series X.
Yeah, they're not selling that well. They're kind of peaked.
Well, I'm not even talking about sales. I'm talking about just overall performance. Like I don't think that these consoles have really done enough to like when you look back on like say like the 360 era or like the Xbox One era or the eras before that, like I just feel like. I don't know if it's like the leap is just smaller or like whatever it is, but I just like this generation just always kind of strikes me as a generation that like where exactly was a lot like I guess like obviously like lighting got better, ray tracing and all that stuff. And
but you're saying like where's the big jump?
Like where is this jump where all of a sudden we need a mid-gen refresh? Like I don't know if I would invest in a mid-gen refresh of either console. Like I just don't know if it's warranted at this point. I think price point's going to matter a lot on this box as well. I mean. If you're a PlayStation fan, right? If you're a PlayStation 5 user, like, what's going to make you upgrade this? Like, how much is this thing going to cost? Because, like, chip prices are not going down. Like, usually with these mid-gen refreshes, it's like the things that are inside the box get a little bit cheaper, and usually you can kind of cut it at a cheaper price. My question is, like, what is the PS5 Pro launching at retail?
Yeah. Like,
is this going to be, like, a $600, $700 box? Or
absolutely.
That's insane to me. If that's the price point, like, that's insane. I don't think there's any justification to get it. Like, I just don't see it. I mean,
people will buy it. Like I told you before, I think their advertisement's going to be the best place to play GTA 6. And I think that's going to sell a lot of consoles.
So I actually saw an interesting, from Paris Lilly, who works for Kind of Funny and stuff like that. And his thought process was actually in the opposite. He was speculating that there's so many people that have yet to upgrade to the Series X or S or PS5 that like because this generation has been so in parity with the last generation that like people if you haven't already bought a PS5 or an Xbox Series console, if you want to play GTA 6, you're going to go for the cheapest entry option, which would be the Series S. That was what he speculated, and like the more I thought about it and I sat on it. Well, here's the thought process, right? If you care about the power of consoles, right, and you care about like what you're playing on, wouldn't you have already at least upgraded to a Series X or a PS5?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, why? Like, if you really cared about like power in a console, why would you be playing on an Xbox One or a PS4 in 2024?
I guess I get that.
So
but if I'm ready to upgrade, I'm gonna go all out. I feel like, especially if I'm upgrading for a specific game, I'm gonna go all out, especially for that game. You know what I mean?
See, I don't know, because again, like, that was the thought process I had.
Yeah.
But, like, the more I sat on Paris's tweet, I actually was like, I mean, I guess that's a great point. Like, at this point in time, maybe, like, a couple of years ago it would be different. Maybe, like, a year ago, 2 years ago. But in 2024, like, at this point, like,
I haven't gotten any of the new generation consoles, and if there was, I mean, if I played on both consoles...
To be fair, I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I always consider you to be, like, a very tech-interested guy.
Yeah, but...
So, like, I understand why you would get a powerful console, but if you're someone who, you're just a guy who plays games, you don't really care about technology and stuff like that, and Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, what is, like, you don't think price point's going to matter to a lot of people?
Yeah.
And again, like, this is just, like, I've not changed my thinking per se, but it's a perspective that I've sat on since I made the script yesterday.
No, I think price point does matter. I think people, one, will be willing to sell their console to get the upgraded console, whether it's $100 off or whatever.
At this point, I don't think you're getting $100 for a PS4 Pro, or a PS4, or an Xbox One.
I mean, if you have a PS5, you'll be willing to sell it for a PS5 Pro or whatever.
You'll probably get $100 for that.
Yeah, and I can't. The PS5 Pro right now is what, 500, or the PS5? I mean.
Yeah, it's 500.
Yeah, so I imagine the Pro is going to be 550 minimum, 600.
Crazy.
But I do think people are willing to pay that extra money. I think even Jeff right here, he's saying he wants it to look insane.
I was about to say, Jeff disagrees. Jeff said, no way, I want to play GTA 6 and I want it to look incredible. That's insane to want 2023 graphics on a 2025 game.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that point, but, like, 2023 graphics is still a PS5. Like, it's or an Xbox Series. Like, it's not like it's going to be that much of a difference. These mid-gen refreshes are never, like, mind-blowing. Like, it's just souped up.
Well, the thing is, if that GPU thing is correct, if that's actually what it is, that is a pretty big jump.
It's fair. Ty says, some good points we're making, but if I'm siding with Rome on this, I would say Xbox would need to get the marketing for the Series S effect to happen. Jeff says he'll be buying a PS5 Pro if it has a significant boost over regular PS5. Okay, there you go.
And I don't know. I'm worried about the Series S and the future of the Series S and Microsoft in general. Like, that console specifically.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've talked about a lot on the show where it's like we look back on Xbox and there's just some of the decisions they've made. That Series S, while it's done great numbers for them in terms of sales,
it's hurting them in the long run.
Like,
in other ways,
it might be hurting them in terms of parity. I mean, we saw it with Baldur's Gate 3 where, like, that game got delayed on Xbox, and, like, luckily for them, that hasn't happened for a lot of other games.
I mean, even when it did come, they had to take things out just to get it working on the S.
Right.
So hopefully that doesn't happen with GTA.
Yeah.
But I do think that while it does, and I think people are also going to be, with the Switch coming out next year, people are going to be in the buying console mode. I know it feels weird to compete against Nintendo.
Well, they are.
No, I mean, they are competing, but it's just like, I think people are going to be okay with, like, oh, this feels like a next generation, even though it's not. It's the PS5 Pro. And
well, so here's another thought as well, and you kind of lead into that, where it's like, they're going to be competing with the next generation of Nintendo console.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart that is launching it there. Like, they're going to launch this holiday season, so I guess you're going to get in front of it, but... All right, Dad, make sure you hit Jeff up. Yeah.
What?
The video is not 1080p.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if I have to pay to get it that, but that's all right.
Yeah, you can hit Jeff up later. Yeah, so I mean, it's just... I don't know. I think it's like a really interesting time, and we have to see what happens. I mean, we're sitting at a point now where console sales are supposedly, I keep being told they're declining, which, you know, they're more so peaking than declining. But I don't know. I don't know. A lot of that doesn't make sense to me. That being said, like, I am the person who, like, I would definitely upgrade to a mid-gen Xbox to play GTA 6. Like, but that's just... But we're not the average person.
But I do think the average person will do that. For GTA 6, it's just one of those games that everyone has to get.
Yeah.
I think you're going to... And if their advertisement is play it best on GTA, play it best on PS5 Pro, like, I think that's going to sell numbers. I don't think they're going to sell that many this holiday season. I think next year is when they sell a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting. To be fair, I've mentioned this to Dev every week.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's no.
I have said this. I have the.
Where's the 1080p button? Where do I press it?
Ty's coming at your neck. He says, "Tech boy, his ass."
Where do I press it? Where do I press the 1080p button? I don't know.
Oh man, the chat. Everyone's roasting Dev. No,
it's okay, just you.
Dev. It's not me. It's literally them. Look, it's right there. I didn't say anything. Get him. No, that's fine. So Tom Henderson also followed up saying, as expected, Sony has launched an internal investigation into the leaked documents, as it leaked during a third-party rollout. Not sure on the implications yet, as I don't think they can catch one individual, but Sony could reduce its third-party developer pool for new tech as a result. So they're trying to emulate the Nintendo assassins. Yeah. Like they have the PlayStation assassins. So with all this stuff to talk about the PS5 though, it is worth noting. Jeff says you can't do it live. Some interesting news actually came up today. And that is that a new Xbox dev kit has been raided for use in South Korea. First found and reported on by a Twitter account called Xbox News for Koreans. This new Xbox dev kit was approved on Monday, March 18th, so today, with a model number 2089. This kit was manufactured in China and Vietnam. Under the laws in Korea, all electronic devices in Korea must be certified by the National Radio Research Agency that there is no risk of harming the radio wave environment, Xbox News for Koreans posted. Without getting certified, you can't use the device in Korea. With approval from the agency, the device is now able to be used in the country and is likely to be distributed to game developers in Korea soon. So, it sounds like Xbox has a new dev kit out there. Now, people are speculating that we have the rumor about the diskless Series X coming, and people are pointing out that you wouldn't need a whole new dev kit for that. So, my question to you, Dev, is so this dev kit approved for use in Korea today.
Xbox Series X Pro?
Well, that's my question. Do you think this is a mid-gen upgrade that they're working on, or do you think this is the next generation of Xbox?
I think it's probably the mid-gen. I think it's mid-gen. I think the next gen is probably 5-6 years away. So I think this is just the next mid-gen.
That was my thought process. So it is interesting because
you have to compete, whether the box is needed or not.
Yeah,
you have to compete, and I think that's part of the reason why Sony's doing it. And I think that's why Xbox is doing it. Hey, Nintendo's putting out a console next year. We have to compete.
I think you guys have made a great point as well. Is like you don't want to fall behind when GTA 6 comes out because even though Paris Lily's tweet has given me that perspective where I've been thinking about it, like at the end of the day, like you don't want to be able to have PlayStation go up there and be like GTA 6 runs like 10 times better or whatever it is, or like 20% better on PlayStation than it does on Xbox.
GTA 6 is a system seller, no matter what system. Like
it's the last video game ever to come out. It's the series finale of video games.
Yeah.
So, interesting news coming out of South Korea. So there is an Xbox dev kit in the wild, and I mean, maybe it's wrong to assume this, but I would assume that even though it just got cleared today in Korea, you would have to think it was available in like other.
This probably just got leaked sooner. Or like, yeah.
Well, it's like there's no shot like the US or the UK or Europe or whatever. Like, I would assume that like where game development is a little bit more prevalent to Xbox, that like those dev kits have probably been out there a little bit longer than today. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Something to keep an eye on and remember during that Xbox podcast PR edition or whatever it was. Sarah Bond did say there was exciting hardware coming at the end of this year. So some people speculated it was the controller. Some people speculated it was the diskless Series X. Maybe it's a mid-gen refresh. Who knows?
I think they announced the mid-gen refresh. I probably don't think it's selling till next year. I think we probably still get the diskless this year, though.
Maybe. I mean, we'll find out. We'll see. But like you said, I mean, you don't want Sony to compete. Like, you want to compete with Sony. So it's like, if PlayStation's going to launch this year, you would imagine that they probably want to at least get on board around the same time.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Plus, you got to get out of the way of the Super Switch. Like, get in before. Sell your units now. Because, like, it's over at that point. All right. Next up in the headlines, number 6, Persona 6. I did that. I did not do that intentionally. Number 6, Persona 6 is coming to Xbox, reportedly. Persona 6 is being planned for Xbox platforms according to a noted industry insider. Until recently, the Atlas RPG series has rarely been released on Xbox platforms. Before last year, when 3 games in the Persona series were ported to Xbox and included in Game Pass, it had only appeared on Xbox twice, with fighting games Persona 4 Arena and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax released in 2012 and 2014. There is a strong case for refreshed interest from Atlas in Xbox then, and according to industry insider Nate the Hate, it's planning to release the next game in the series for Xbox. From the information I've heard, it does seem that Persona 6 will be coming to Xbox, Nate the Hate said during his podcast with Spawnwave. He says, I'm not 100% sure it will be day and date with the PlayStation version, but considering the way the Persona games have been day and date with the multi-platform releases at this point, it's a safe assumption to make. Another reliable Atlas insider recently claimed that Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor ReFantazio are coming to the Super Switch.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I know, Devro, you don't think that Xbox gamers want to play Japanese-made games.
I never said that.
This is a known history with you.
I never said that. I don't know why you keep bringing that up.
You have said it.
I've never said it.
You've said it multiple times.
Show me.
I'm not going to go through
you can't.
58 episodes of the podcast
You can't.
to cherry pick. I have more important things to do. I'm trying to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now. I don't have time to cherry pick quotes.
All right.
Anyways, you did say it, and it's fine. You can feel that way. It's okay. But it seems like you're taking the L on that one. Number 7 in the headlines. Minecraft is getting its own version of Game Pass. And it's going to cost $3.99 a month in the marketplace.
Because we definitely need that.
So Mojang Studios has announced that the Minecraft Marketplace Pass, a new subscription service that provides access to a rotating catalog of Minecraft items, packs, and DLC. The pass costs $3.99 a month and is compatible across all Minecraft Bedrock Edition platforms. With over 150 items, new products will come and go from the Marketplace Pass periodically and will provide free character creator items to players every month. It's the same catalog that's available through Minecraft Realms Plus, so current subscribers need not apply. Ty says, good get for Xbox, but it needs to be day and date. Anything else is an L. I think that, as Nate the Hate says, there's a good shot that it's probably going to be day and date. Anyways, back to this. One of the best gaming subscriptions in the world right now is Xbox Game Pass, which grants players access to a rotating library of hundreds of Xbox, Windows, and PC and cloud games. It seems Mojang Studios wants Minecraft to offer a similar experience, as it just announced the Minecraft Marketplace Pass, available across Xbox, Windows, PC, PlayStation, Switch, and mobile versions of the game. Announced via Minecraft.net, the new marketplace costs $4 a month and provides unrestricted access to over 150 worlds, adventures, skin and texture packs, and more. It's easily affordable. Subscription for those always looking to try new experiences in Minecraft. You always have the option of also buying the DLC that you wish to keep forever. Not all of the Minecraft players will need to bother with the Marketplace Pass. All of the items and DLC including the pass are the same included in Minecraft Realms Plus, which also provides private 11-person servers. So
that's actually not that bad.
So for $4 a month, if you are a Minecraft fan and you just play Minecraft, like it's your favorite game, you play it all the time, for $4 a month, the game will make DLC that's created available to you for a set amount of time. And then when it shuffles out, they'll bring new content in.
Which I guess that's kind of cool.
I think if you're a Minecraft player, I think $4 a month, like that's
if that's your main game,
yeah.
I was assuming like, oh, this is just more ways to pay for a game you already have or to play it more, but like that seems like a good incentive.
And Xbox makes it clear, it's like, hey, you don't need this pass. All this DLC that we're bringing to these passes are available for purchase separately. It's probably a lot more than $4 to buy all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So and if you want, you can also almost use this as like a system to be like, hey, show me new things, bring me things to try, and if I like it, I'll buy it and I'll keep it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a cool idea. I mean, we'll see if it works out for them. I think Minecraft is the kind of platform that can do that. So. Number 8 on the headlines. There was a PS5 update this past week. PlayStation rolled out a new update for the PS5 and enhances audio on the DualSense controller, adds new share screen features, and more. This update was in beta last month, but it rolled out for everyone last week. The biggest features are coming to the DualSense. The built-in speakers can now produce higher volume sound, which PlayStation says will allow players to hear in-game sounds and voice chat audio more clearly. Plus, the noise cancellation on the controller's built-in mic has been improved. Share screen is also getting some new features with today's update, well, last week's update. Namely, viewers can move a pointer around and send a ping or draw a line on a shared screen, allowing them to highlight objects in-game or guide a player. Plus, viewers can now send emoji-based reactions to the host screen. These features are turned off by default, and the host and viewer must turn them on. Today's update, last week's update, also allows users to adjust the brightness of the PS5 power indicator. Simply go to Settings, Beep and Light, and then Brightness. Nice little additions to shore up the PS5. Number 9 on the headlines. Devro, Embracer. Saber Interactive has finally escaped Embracer. They were sold off for $247 million. In an announcement to investors, Embracer said the sale meant it would now cease all operations in Russia while improving its cash flow. Saber is being sold to a group of private investors under Beacon Interactive, a company controlled by Saber Interactive co-founder Matthew Karch. Some other news about that is Embracer also sold off selected assets from Saber. In a new press release, Embracer Group reports that Embracer has sold selected assets for $247 million to Saber Interactive co-founder Matthew Karch. Embracer made the deal with Beacon Interactive, which Karch controls. As a result of the deal, Beacon will acquire nearly 3,000 workers and 38 projects. Co-founder and group CEO of Embracer, Lars Wingfors, added a statement regarding their future relationship with Embracer. I will continue to remain a large, long-term shareholder of Embracer, and we will remain partners on several ongoing and future projects. In a new Twitter post that came out after the posting of this article, Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported that Matt Karch has already decided to take 4A and Zen Studios. According to the press release, the retained pipeline includes 14 games, which feature 2 joint projects. Among those games are a variety of AAA titles and IPs. One of these will be previously announced AAA game based on a major license, which I assume is the KOTOR remake.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. There's also some new AA games from 34 Big Things, a game based on Asmodee IP, and more. Some specific titles also include Killing Floor 3 and Teardown. Embracer will also retain full upcoming pipeline and back catalog from Zen Studios, Aspyr, and Tripwire. However, Beacon will have an option right to acquire 4A games and Zen Studios for a fixed price within a certain time period. Some fans may be concerned that Embracer will hold on to license and publishing rights to the Metro franchise via Plowon. Saber Interactive, man, striking out, getting out from under the boot of Embracer.
Yeah.
Ty says, thank the private investors who put their money where they mouth is, unlike these consumer gamers who are entitled and just like to complain. They saved Saber.
It was worrisome, though. Like, I was wondering what was going to happen to them, what was going to happen to the Knights of the Old Republic game, and, like, it's kind of a good thing.
Well, luckily they got away from the shareholders. Like, I think Ty is confused. The shareholders were the problem. Lars Wingfors said himself, he's like, we will always do right by the shareholders. So we're laying off all of our development studios, closing studios, canceling games. We don't even make games anymore. Does Embracer actually honestly make video games?
I don't know.
Like, honestly, like, is Embracer making video games at this point?
They're selling studios.
They're selling. They're selling something. It's studios, not games. Anyways, number 10 on the headlines. Really interesting, right? So we talked about EA last week, and we talked about EA and how they were not going to be making Star Wars games anymore. They wanted to focus on their own IP, right? And like Ty was like, "Oh, this is the right move. Like EA is going to focus on its developers. You know, I'm Irish and stuff like that." And like, so you would think that like Battlefield and stuff like that would not be going through, you know, turbulent times. However, the Battlefield franchise, which I don't know if you know, Dev, is an EA owned franchise. This is first party, like they own the IP.
Yeah.
So, you know, they should be putting a lot of effort and thought process into this. But Battlefield franchise has lost yet another creative director. The Battlefield franchise has lost another creative director following Marcus Letho's departure last month. Craig Morrison joined the Battlefield franchise as creative director in August 2021, becoming the studio creative director in December 2022 in replacement of Mr. Battlefield, Lars Gustafsson. However, Morrison's LinkedIn has revealed that Morrison left the franchise in February of this year to join Blue Scarab Entertainment. The move marks the second time a creative director has left the franchise this year alone, and it's only March, which is typically something you would see happen at the end of a project. Marcus Letho, the creative director of Ridgeline Games, left the franchise last month too, soon after EA announced it would be letting go of 670 employees, which also included the closure of Ridgeline Games. On Letho's departure, Laura Meal, president of EA Entertainment, said, Marcus Letho recently made a personal decision to leave the project. To ensure our work continues uninterrupted, we immediately appointed leadership at Criterion to oversee our single-player work. As part of this change, we'll be winding down Ridgeline as a standalone studio in Seattle, with some team members joining Ripple Effect. They'll continue to work with teams across DICE, Ripple, and Criterion as they build the next Battlefield experience. EA has yet to comment on Craig Morrison's departure, but has been contacted for comment from Insider Gaming. Insider Gaming speculates that there is definitely some turmoil at the franchise right now. And also, Insider Gaming plugs like, hey, if you want to talk about it anonymously, email me. Which, Tom Henderson, by the way, a cornerstone of the reporting on this podcast. Tom does phenomenal work. But, that's just me kind of giving props, because Tom Henderson kills it with these reports. While we're on it, outgoing Battlefield director says, quote, he has nothing positive to say about EA.
Not surprised.
Marcus Letho, who we just talked about, he, by the way, co-created the Halo franchise at Bungie, founded Seattle-based EA studio Ridgeline Games in 2021. At Ridgeline, Letho was directing a new single-player Battlefield game. However, he left the studio under unclear circumstances last month, shortly after EA had confirmed that it closed the studio entirely. This past Friday, Letho commented on his experience on Twitter, writing, "Not been saying much here, since I don't have anything positive to say about EA, my recent departure, and how so many, including my team, are suffering due to the industry-sweeping layoffs." The game designer then liked responses from fans, including one message calling EA the epitome of corporate greed.
Yeah.
So, once again...
You can't monetize that single player too much, so...
Yeah, right. It's like, we want to make our own IP. Okay, we're going to make a single player part for the Battlefield. Whoa. We didn't say that.
Yeah, just... It's... To lose a guy like that says a lot.
And Ty, the shareholder talks, is backing up the corpos.
What do you mean?
He's trying to justify it.
Oh.
And then Forrest says EA sucks. Why? Because they canceled again? How about you go fund it and take the risks? And then Forrest says FAFs. Not facts. FAFs.
No, it feels like this Marcus guy, like, I don't know, he knows what he's doing. I feel like he knows how to make a great game. And I don't know.
The thing is,
it's more telling that he left and he doesn't have anything good to say.
And then more people are leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know Ty, the corpo guy, he's in the helicopter right now. He's just like, what are you talking about? This is great business. Surely nothing's wrong at EA. It's not like they just laid off 700
Even
people.
though I don't play Battlefield, I want it to succeed because it makes Call of Duty better.
Oh, yeah. Like, Battlefield's fun. I like Battlefield. I do play Battlefield.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Number 11 on the headlines. Jeff Key 3 is confirmed for June. Jeff Keighley has announced that his Summer Games Fest will return as an in-person event on June 7th, 2024. The show will feature thousands of in-person fans and will again be broadcast from the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. He says, get a glimpse at what's next in video games. I'm going to go into this with extremely low expectations. I think Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest has been bad for the last 3 years, to be honest.
I don't think they've been bad.
I think they have been.
I think last year was okay. I think you just...
I thought it was a bad year.
You want something from it that's never been done before.
Yeah, it has.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
Did E3 have its own showcase?
E3 had showcases that showed
from
game
other companies, but there's no showcase. There's no E3 showcase. Come to the E3 showcase Wednesday at 7 p.m. and watch the E3 showcase, and then we'll show you the other stuff.
I mean, to be fair, all the showcases were back to back to back, so like it kind of was like that.
No, but they were back to back to back of other companies. E3 was just a hub for those people to come to.
I hear you, but at the end of the day, regardless of that, like it's just not. I don't think it's a very good showing. I've been underwhelmed by the E3's, or I'm sorry, by Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. That doesn't mean that like they can't be good. They just, in my opinion, they haven't been that good.
But, like, what do you expect to see from the Summer Games Fest show? Not just the showcase that they show.
I expect
the one
big
that's
announcements. I expect big game announcements. We didn't get that last year. We got some gameplay.
No, you're not. I don't think you're going to get huge big game announcements at that. You're going to get like maybe one or two that they pay for, and that's it. You're not going to get.
Well, I think that's lame. I think it's stupid. I'm allowed to think that.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't get it. Because it's not like you're comparing it to anything else.
The time, like, here's the thing. You'll probably, in fact, I know you'll disagree with this. Jeff Keighley specifically put this out to compete with E3 at the time. He compete, like, the time of year is the exact same time that E3 would go. Like, this is meant in Jeff's mind, at least, seems like it's meant to replace E3.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's any good. I just don't think it's a very good showcase. Like, I think they're too long. They don't have enough big announcements. Like, there's going to be something that excites me there, but like, I it's just for what it took over, for what it succeeded, because like it did succeed E3. Whether whether it's fair to make that comparison or not, like it's the succession of E3, like.
But it's not E3 though. That's the thing.
But it's its successor.
But it's not E3 though.
It doesn't matter. It's E3's successor. It is the platform that took the place of E3.
Yeah, but it's not E3.
Sure, but it doesn't.
So things are going to be different.
So it's still not good.
It's its own showcase. It's not showing like E3 never had its own showcase. E3 was a hub that had other showcases there. Summer's Games Fest has its own showcase. Maybe that's what
Jeff Keighley needs to do. Then he needs to do that.
But they have a spot where it's like, hey, there's a big hole here. Let's fill it with some like smaller announcements. Yeah, they're not going to be. I think the other companies are going to hold on to the big stuff. Microsoft's going to get the big Microsoft one, and like Sony's going to get the big Sony one. But like,
and again, so Ty says it too. He's like, he says with Xbox Showcase being so dominating in Game of the Year awards, Ty expects Summer Games Fest to not get anything great or special, and I agree.
Yeah,
I think that
I think it's you get one or two big things from from the Summer Showcase because it's like the half. Jeff Keighley's going to do his summer thing and then his game awards thing, and I think that's you get what you get. I don't understand. I don't know what kind of announcement you can expect to get from the Summer's show, like Jeff Keighley's thing.
Yeah, very tongue twistery. I don't know, because I was also. I don't know if you heard me. I was also struggling on it. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's just like maybe they get a GTA 6 trailer or something that like.
Look, I just think that at the end of the day, again, whether it's fair or not, like I'm not sitting here saying it's fair to do this, but at the end of the day, the Summer Games Fest did take the place of E3, so I'm going to not this year. This year I'm going into it with like basement level expectations, like below the floor expectations. Like I don't even think I'm going to take off work for it. Usually, like we always take off work for like the showcases or stuff and E3 and like you.
Well,
luckily,
yeah,
the
E3 was like
Xbox June thing will always be on a Sunday. It seems like, so hopefully they do that again. So I don't have to worry about that. But like, there's not a chance in hell I'm taking off work on June 7th, which I am going to confirm real quick. It's probably a weekday.
Yeah, most likely.
It's a Friday. I'm not taking off for that. I'm not going to take off.
Yeah, work. I mean, I don't think you should. It's a one show thing.
Yeah, but that's my thing. It's like,
E3 was a week of stuff where
3 days. I mean, yes, it went a week, but
yeah, but like. Okay, it was the 3 main days where everyone kind of centered around these 3 days, and they showed, like you said, back to back showcases. Mm-hmm. That's not what That's not what Jeff Keighley's thing is.
Well, it's stupid, and I don't like it.
Okay.
And again, like I'm just being honest. Like it's just. Anyways, yeah, we'll move on. So I mean, that'll come out June 7th. Be excited for it if you want. I would recommend not being excited for it, but you do you. Halo Season 2 is doing really well, Dev. Halo on Paramount Plus has faced a lot of turmoil following a lengthy development cycle to bring the show to life. The show's first season was a success for Paramount Plus, but faced vocal fan backlash. Why was that, Dev?
I don't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about Master Cheeks?
No. I don't want to talk about Master Cheeks.
No? Okay.
His face reveal and other
things.
The face
reveal and the other thing that was revealed.
Yeah.
Season 2, though, has largely improved on the first season's shortcomings, and also seems to be pulling in the viewers to match the show's quality improvement. According to Nielsen, which tracks hours watched for content across multiple services in the US, including Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney+, Paramount+, and more, the Halo show has been one of the most viewed original pieces of content following its premiere on February 9th. In retrospect, or not in retrospect, but to get a picture, so original series, and it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith in first place with 765 million minutes watched. Number 2 was Griselda with 735 million minutes watched. Number 3 is Halo with 354 million minutes watched.
Okay.
During the week of February 5th through 11th, Halo was the third most viewed original show. The following week, from February 12th to 18th, the show dropped to the 4th on the list, but it rose to 458 million hours watched. So, I guess... I'm sorry, I said minutes. 354 million hours.
Okay.
And then the following week, they took 4th place instead of 3rd place, but they went up to 458 million hours watched across that week. It's worth noting that Halo is competing for time on this list with many shows that have released all their episodes at once, whereas Halo has opted to release the episode one per week. So that means like some of these shows could be binged in a week and Halo couldn't. I think that's an advantage to those other shows.
Yeah.
And yet Halo still is beating them. I think that's impressive. I really want to check out Halo Season 2. I know Ty has recommended it in the past. It looks really good. I do admit it.
Visually, yeah. Like, Season 1 looked great as well, visually. I think it's the story. Like no, not that part. I think it's just like, I don't know, why show his face and why show his cheeks so early?
So here's the thing, right?
That's Season 3 stuff, maybe.
Here's the thing. Oh,
yeah, like
clapping cheeks in Season 3?
Something, I don't know.
I do think that it was a little weird for them to reveal Chief's face. I mean, obviously, I definitely have more issues with the whole Master Cheeks thing more. I know that you're much more against the face reveal than I am. I'm against it, but not as strongly.
It's just like one of those things you don't touch. It's sacred.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, it's not. No. But no, like the show follows like the fall of Reach and stuff, and it's just I gotta watch it. Number 13 on the headlines. Pokemon Company did something a little mysterious this week, Dev. Before I said visual cheeks. Ugh. The new company, Pokemon established a new subsidiary called Pokemon Works. The new company, which was discovered by Cerebi webmaster Joe Merrick, will operate out of the same building as ILCA, the company behind the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remakes. The purpose of the company is unknown, although the company will share a building with ILCA. It should be noted that ILCA is not owned or operated by the Pokemon Company, though it does have a close relationship given its work on Pokemon Home and the Diamond and Pearl games remakes. If ILCA is currently considered more closely aligned with Bandai Namco, having established a new studio in partnership with Bandai Namco in 2022. Currently, the Pokemon franchise is handled by several different entities. The franchise is owned in part by three main companies: Nintendo, Creatures Inc., and Game Freak. Creatures Inc., which was founded in the mid-90s by the current Pokemon Company President Ishihara, and the late Satoru Iwata, largely looks after the trading card game. Game Freak, which began as a fan-made magazine, later evolved into the game developer as the steward of the main series of games, and also oversees game-related projects. The next game in the Pokemon franchise, Legend Z to A, has been officially announced. I guess we'll have to see what Pokemon Works will be doing. Any guesses?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
None at all.
I wonder if Pokemon Works will be like a remake studio. Because if they're working with ILCA, who made the Diamond and Pearl remakes, maybe that's like, hey, we want to keep making mainline Pokemon games and Legends games. Why don't you go remake our older games for us?
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
That'd be great. I would love that.
That would be great.
Right now, Ty's like, no, I hate Pokemon. I hate Game Freak. Terrible.
He hates Game Freak?
Oh, yeah. We were kind of not going at it, but he was like, he doesn't like Game Freak.
To be fair, Game Freak's like one of like 10 companies that touches those games. Like, it's a lot of people's hands.
Said they showed all four of his cheeks. How dare.
His face cheeks and his butt cheeks. Those are sacred.
Speaking of sacred, number 14, Multiverses is returning, Devro.
Nice.
In May. It's going to be running on Unreal 5. In a new video revealing the game's re-release date, game director Tony Hine, Hun? I don't know. Explained that previous criticisms has been taken on board. The team heard your feedback and learned a lot from our open beta. Here at Player First Games, it's always been our aspiration to make a platform fighter you'll love as much as we do. We've been working hard on a variety of changes and updates to deliver an improved gameplay experience. According to him, the changes include the addition of some really exciting brand new personalities to the roster, new stages, improved netcode, and new moves for each character. The game also shifted to Unreal 5, and a new PvE mode will be introduced with unique rewards. Multiverse is pretty cool, Dev. I'm excited to see it come back out. It's gonna be free to play. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the first. It feels like the first game that can compete against the Smash formula and like do well.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Number 15 on the headlines. This was an interesting story that I wanted to include, mainly because I've actually enjoyed this developer's previous work. Deliver Us the Moon developer has issued a plea to publishers and says that this is the team's last resort. The team behind Deliver Us the Moon and Deliver Us Mars is in deep trouble right now. Last week, the developer, Kyoken Interactive, has issued an urgent investment plea for 5 planned games, 3 of which are Deliver Us titles, which is that franchise they've made, Deliver Us the Moon, Deliver Us Mars. Mm-hmm. The studio has apparently pitched these games 180 times in the past 2 years and has yet to find a publisher who will take them on. Now the hope is that the Deliver Us community will spread the word as much as possible, generate buzz and hype to the point where maybe a publisher will sign on for some of these games. So Dev, I'm going to tell you these games, and I want to tell you if you'd want to play them.
Okay.
So these are the 5
I don't know anything about the Deliver Us franchise, by the way. I don't even...
So Deliver Us is...
You've played them?
I played Deliver Us the Moon.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool franchise. You're kind of exploring the moon and trying to figure out what happened on this space station on the moon.
Okay.
It's kind of like a mystery kind of thing where you go and you find out what happened.
Okay.
Deliver Us Mars, I just didn't get to yet, but I really enjoyed Deliver Us the Moon.
And I guess Deliver Us to Mars is
probably a same premise, I would assume. So anyways, I'm going to tell you these 5 games. You tell me which ones you'd sign off on.
Okay.
So this first game that they pitched is called We Are Human, and it's a philosophical thriller that emphasizes mind-bending combat and traversal. It would launch on PC and console.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I agree. I think it sounds great. Deliver Us Home, a solitary astronaut experience about finding home.
Yeah, that also sounds great.
That sounds like a really great narrative game. That sounds like a romance game, to be honest. Deliver Us the Moon
2.
TM, it says. Hygens, an unsettling survival experience taking place during the blackout, which the blackout I think is something that narratively happens. So it would be like a spin-off game.
Okay.
And it's like a survival game.
Okay.
So my assumption would be like you're stuck on this spaceship, this space station on the moon, and the power goes out. You have to stay alive.
All right. That one doesn't sound as fun, but
right. Deliver Us VR, an immersive astronaut experience that brings you back to the moon in VR.
Okay.
And Expeditions, a co-op Souls-like top-down shooter featuring a rich narrative on Pangea Proxima.
Oh.
It sounds like completely out of left field. Like all these other games are like very like, oh okay, seems very on par with what the developer's making, and they're like, we want to make a Soulsborne top-down shooter.
Yeah, it sounds like they have a lot of good ideas. They just need money.
Yeah, they say after pitching these 5 games over 200 times with 40+ publishers, it was time to call upon our greatest strength, our community and network. It's our last resort. We will not go down without a fight, and what better way than to fight with everything we've created. Our entire team has poured their heart and dedication in these games. The amount and diversity of these games are not a result of lack of focus or vision. It's a testament to our adaptability and to how hard we've tried to make it work during continually shifting winds and exceptionally hard times in the industry. More than anything else, we love and want to continue making games.
Okay.
I hope somebody calls them up, because Ty says, I heard about the news with Deliver Us developer. They should go for crowdfunding, speak directly to the consumer, and get them to take financial risks, not the mean, bad shareholders. I mean, you are correct about one thing. The shareholders are mean, and they are bad.
But I get what he's saying. You probably should just like
I think that I think that's a great point. Actually, I think that they should probably try to dip into some self-publishing and crowdfunding.
Yeah, because even if you do get someone to give you money, now you have to make their game.
This is a rare, good idea from a shareholder. So kudos to you. But yeah, hopefully they can turn it around, because I would love to. There's like 2 of those games specifically I would really love to play. I think Deliver Us Home just sounds like a really cool experience, and then the We Are Human one also sounds just fascinating. So number 16 on the headlines. Devro, I've been saying it for weeks, and it seems like analysts are starting to pick up what I've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Auto 6, the series finale of video games, will be the most important thing to ever release, says analysts. Grand Theft Auto 6 stormed to the front page of every newsfeed worldwide when Rockstar Games revealed it last December. It quickly broke viewership records and soared up the charts, setting the industry on fire with an intense anticipation of what could be the last... I actually didn't mean to say that. The fastest selling game, not the last selling game.
The last selling game.
I mean, look, it is. It just is. That was a Freudian slip. It definitely is. Recently, Matt Piscatella, an expert analyst with Circana, sat down with GameIndustry.biz to discuss the financial outlook for the games industry, suggesting that we, as a global community, need to see more overachievers like Palworld and spending dives. He also suggested that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be a monumentally important game that will change the face of the games industry by being the last game.
Okay.
That last part was me. I had that one.
Okay.
It's he's not wrong. It has been a rough year or so for the games industry, from more than 16,000 layoffs in 18 months to the cancellation of games that looked phenomenal on paper. Gamers and industry workers worldwide have come to terms with some intense struggles of late. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, according to Piscatella, who spoke recently to GamesIndustry.biz. Quote, "This is going to be a tough year, but if you look towards 2025, if interest rates come down and money becomes a little bit more free-flowing to devs and pubs, we should get a boost in the development cycle again. We're going to get a renewed batch of interest with GTA 6 in particular. There's probably never been a more important thing to ever release in this industry, so no pressure to them." Insider Gaming points out it's a fair assessment to make. More than a decade after GTA 5 was released, it still tops the sales charts and scraping up more viewership on platforms like Twitch than any other game. Devro, GTA 6, the series finale of video games. What are your thoughts on its importance?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely important. I don't know if it's the last game ever.
It is. It's the last game ever.
Okay.
Like, everyone's going to pack it up the day after it comes out.
All right.
It's just like, all right, guys, it's over.
I'm still not sure about that, but I do think it's a very important game. They have to get it. I mean, I have faith in them, right?
Oh, yeah, I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be phenomenal. Why is Jeff sending what's trending on Twitter? Hold on, let me see.
I just hope this game...
R.I.P. Troy. Wait, who died? Troy? Hold on. I don't have that on my thing all of a sudden. Somebody die? Because Jeff sent me a thing while we were live. Jeff's not here anymore. I don't see an R.I.P. Troy on here. What he sent me? Oh, you know what? Never mind.
Tears of the Kingdom is
No.
is trending?
Well, no one cares about Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Tears of the Kingdom is a great game.
Never mind. Nobody died. I realized why Jeff sent it to me. It's a wrestling thing. Ty says, wait, did they say more important? I don't know, guys. More important than Ocarina of Time, Tomb Raider? More important than Mario? Well, I think
more important for this generation. What other game has come out?
That game is going to rejuvenate the games industry. I mean, like, it's going to sell consoles for both sides. Like, we have PlayStation and Xbox sitting here saying, well, no one's buying these new consoles anymore. I feel very strongly that PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, whether it be the mid-gen updates or whatever their current consoles are going to be at the time GTA 6 launches, you're going to see an uptick in console sales for both of them. Yeah. And I do think, personally, it's going to be substantial. I think that both PlayStation and Xbox have given very little reason for people to upgrade this generation. I think most games are coming still to older consoles. Like, yes, you have like the few that aren't, like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth didn't. Jeff says GTA 6 will be the most role-played game of all time. It's going to be insane. I hope they get some great servers. Hopefully they do. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
I think it's also like they're building this game around the online, like the online part of the game. GTA 5 online, just like I think it still brings in like it's one of the best selling games still. Like GTA 5 is still one of the best selling games every year.
Yeah,
it's on the list somewhere in the top 10. They're gonna build this game around the online. Like, of course, it's gonna have a great story, I think, like and all that. But no, I think this game is gonna be very important.
Yeah. So Ty likes the way we put it better. You rejuvenate the games industry. That's a good way to put it. The girl I'm talking to now said she'll buy a PS5 when GTA comes out.
A PS5 Pro. She'll buy the Pro.
She'll buy the Pro, yeah. No, she'll buy a base PS5. Cheapest.
The Series S.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I do think that there will be a lot of people who will go for the cheapest option in the market, too. Most of those people who haven't updated yet. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move right along because we're getting close to the end of the show here. Number 17 on the headlines. Gotham Knights developers helping on the Wonder Woman game. According to a job listing spotted by Tech for Gamers, the studio which most recently helmed Gotham Knights is working on the Wonder Woman game, which is being made by Monolith Productions. They're going to use the Nemesis system from their acclaimed pair of Lord of the Rings titles released last generation. WB Montreal is known for Gotham Knights and Batman Arkham Origins. The latter of two was well received by fans, but has received little love publicly from Arkham series originator Rocksteady. Kind of funny that the worst game in the Batman Arkhamverse is a Rocksteady game and not this Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I loved Arkham Origins.
I mean, it was the worst of the Arkham games, but it was still really good.
I don't even agree with that.
Which is yours? Is it Arkham Knight for you?
No, I liked Arkham Knight too. People hated the tank stuff, and I loved the tank stuff.
I remember you loved the tank stuff.
Yeah, I really did.
That's a throwback. I remember you really loving that stuff. Well, so what's the worst Batman Arkham game that's not Suicide Squad?
It might sound weird because I love the game too.
Don't say City.
No, the first one.
Oh, okay, all right.
City, I love. Yeah,
that's fair. City's like the best one. In my opinion.
I think City's probably the best one.
Yeah, City's the best one. Okay, yeah. Anyways, previous job caused many players to fear that the game would be a live service game rather than a traditional single player experience.
That is scary to hear. Oh, the people who are working on this Gotham Knights is working on this Wonder Woman game. In
a statement to IGN at the time, Warner denied that the game would be a live service game, saying Wonder Woman is a single-player action-adventure game set in a dynamic open world. I don't trust WB at this point, though. I mean, remember last week they said we need to do less single-player games and more Suicide Squads. Yeah. It's like, hey, look, we have 2 games that came out the last year and a half or so. We had Hogwarts Legacy, which was the best-selling game of last year, and we had Suicide Squad, which did terribly. We need to make more of one of these kinds of games. I think it's obvious which one we're going with.
Did you play the Lord of the Ring games?
No, I have them. They're in the backlog. I got them cheap someone.
You should definitely play at least one of those before the Wonder Woman game comes out. When you play that game, you'll understand exactly what the Wonder Woman game is going to look like.
No, I know about the Nemesis system. I do.
But like just the gameplay itself, they're really fun games. Like
I've definitely heard that. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully Wonder Woman's good. I'm with WB games at this point. The biggest grain of salt until they come out. Like I don't believe in them as a developer or a publisher at all at this point. So we'll see what happens. Got some details about the Fallout TV show. Todd Howard had to reveal Fallout 5 secrets to the show's creators to avoid similarities. In an interview with Den of Geek, Howard Jonathan Nolan, who's a writer and director and executive producer on the show, and showrunner Graham Wagner, explained the series is an entirely new story set in the Fallout universe. Nolan caused confusion among fans earlier this month while discussing the show with Total Film. He said, quote, "It's almost like we're Fallout 5. I don't want to sound presumptuous, but it's just a non-interactive version of it, right?" However, in this interview, Nolan explains that while the show is set in the same universe and the same timeline as the Fallout games, it's neither designed to replace nor recount the events of the upcoming Fallout 5 game. Speaking of the benefits of making an original show in the universe, he explained, "It means you have all the benefit of beautiful storytelling that Todd and Bethesda have contributed to, but we also get to tell an original story within that world. As writers and filmmakers, it's just a dream come true." He says, "I think we made Fallout 6, Wagner then replied, to which Nolan joked, "We know all about Fallout 5. We're not telling anyone." Howard then clarified these jokes by explaining that he did indeed share some details on Fallout 5 with the show's creators, if not perhaps the full thing. He said, well, there were some things where I said, don't do this because we're going to do this in Fallout 5, he explained. Howard also reiterated that the Fallout show will be a separate story from the games, saying it wasn't the translation of an existing story. It was, what would the next thing be? It just happens to be a TV show. All of the episodes of Fallout, the TV show, will be available on Amazon Prime on April 11th. I'm so excited for this show.
Yeah, this looks good.
It looks so good.
It does.
Now, I didn't include this, but this was a really funny thing that happened where the game's media took a quote from one of the showrunners and kind of twisted it to make it not sound good. But I wanted to get your take on it. So, I forget which one of them it was, but one of them said, the headlines were saying that the Fallout TV show, the creators say, we didn't make this show with the fans in mind. And so if you go and look at the actual quote, it's more like one of the showrunners is a fan of the games, like an actual fan of the games. And he said, I made the show that, as a fan, I wanted to see. I didn't try to anticipate what other fans would want.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, when you read it in the context, it's
not that bad.
No,
it's not like Halo.
It's like if someone was like, hey, Ron, make a Zelda movie. Like, I wouldn't be like, I would make a movie that I would love in the Zelda universe. I wouldn't, because I love Zelda. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be like, well, the Zelda fans got to have that Calamity Ganon. There ain't no Calamity Ganon in my Zelda movie. We're gonna get Ganondorf Dragmire. We're gonna get like the OG Ganondorf, not the OG, but Ganondorf, not Ganon. There's a difference.
Okay.
There is a difference. But anyways, yeah, Fallout TV show. It looks great. I am very excited to watch it.
And they can show as many cheeks as they want.
Well, yeah, it's Fallout.
Yeah.
What else is there to do in the apocalypse? You just slap cheeks, clap cheeks. But no, this show looks so good.
Yeah.
Just can't get enough of it. Like, I'm watching the B-roll right now, and I'm just like, this looks incredible. Kudos to them. Anyways, let's move on. Number 19 on the headlines. Final Fantasy XVI's PC version is in the final stages of optimization, and that you can expect a PC demo before release. That's generally it. It's just the headline. Just for the sake of time, we're going to move on, but that is coming. I was disappointed by Final Fantasy XVI, but its PC version is coming soon.
Okay.
Number 20 on the headline, some details on the upcoming Star Wars strategy game that did not get canceled by EA. Respawn is publishing a Star Wars strategy game for EA, developed by emerging talent at BitReactor. According to job postings, the game will take full advantage of Unreal Engine 5. BitReactor is actively seeking new talent, as indicated on its official website, with open positions for a senior lighting artist, lead level designer, and lead producer. These details within these listings offer insights into the ambitions of the upcoming Star Wars strategy game. These job postings reveal more about the game than any official announcement to date, providing us with several key insights. There's 3 key things that Game Watcher, who posted this article, learned from the job listings. That the game will run in Unreal Engine 5. They're asking for experience working on console titles is a must. So we have to assume that this strategy game will not only come to PC, but Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 as well. And then lastly, the game will aim to revolutionize strategy systems through the lens of the Star Wars universe. This sounds like something right up my alley. Strategy game, Star Wars. Yeah. Love it. I'm all about it. Cannot wait for this game. Ty says Xbox will likely sweep the game this year at the Game Awards with Halo and Fallout TV show. I wonder if the Xbox podcast will accept this, because when Last of Us won, they made fun of it and said it means nothing.
I didn't know that.
Did they say that? I can't speak on it. I won't doubt it. I mean, if they said that, I don't know.
I mean, but that is a dumb thing to say. Like, the Last of Us show was great.
The official Xbox podcast said that The Last of Us winning doesn't mean anything? Are we talking about the official Xbox podcast or like some other Xbox podcast?
Either way, it's a dumb thing to say.
That seems like a weird... I don't think that sounds so off-brand for the official Xbox podcast. I've listened to them. Like, they are not console warring. Like, they're PR for Xbox. Like, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe Ty can clarify that. That's weird. Anyways, Last of Us show is very good, by the way.
No, I think it's hard to make a really good... Yeah.
You have?
Yeah. It's hard to make a really good video game adaptation to a show or
I think
movie.
We're getting to a point where it's getting easier.
Yeah, it's definitely getting easier. And I think the show route is going a lot better than the movie route.
All right, number 21 on the headlines. Again, we have a lot to cover. We're almost done. Apex Legends Esports Finals were postponed after hackers reportedly gave pro players cheats mid-game. As reported by Forbes, pro players competing in the... What?
That's kind of funny.
That Forbes reported it?
No, it's like you get cheats mid-game to the pro players.
Yeah, the hackers like, I gotta help my favorite pro.
Yeah.
As reported by Forbes, pro players competing in the Apex Legends North American Finals were suddenly being given cheats like aimbots and wall hacks through no fault of their own. The hack ruined the event, and it's claimed that one player was even banned from the game for using an aimbot before Respawn stepped in and shut the tournament down. Due to the competitive integrity of this series being compromised, we have made the decision to postpone the NA Finals at this time, a tweet on the official Apex Legends Esports account on Twitter read. We will share more information soon. Clips of players being hacked have been shared on social media. In one of the most prominent clips, pro player DZ Jen Burton is playing a match when his chat suddenly starts saying, Apex hacking global series by Destroyer 2009 and random. DZ Jen Burton then realizes that he can see the location of every player in the game, even those behind walls. He says, I'm getting hacked, holding his hands up to show he isn't doing it. Can you play? Asks another player. Yeah, he replies, but it's cheating. I can see everyone. He then quits the game, looking visibly upset. And then the clip's down here, but...
Yeah, I'd be pissed off too. Like,
yeah, you're a pro player. You're in the finals, and someone just hacked your game. Even if it's to help you, like, you don't want to be caught cheating.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen. It's like, what if you just act like it wasn't you?
Imagine how that would work in, like, physical sports. Like,
oh, okay. So, yeah, Ty says not from the official. Okay. I was going to say. That didn't make any sense for the Last of Us quote thing from the Xbox podcast.
Imagine how this would work in, like, physical sports where it's like, someone just injected steroids in me. I can't play. I didn't do it.
Another clip appears to show player Imperial How being hacked mid-match and obtaining an aimbot, which causes the game's anti-cheat mechanism to kick in and prevents him from being able to shoot his gun. It's not yet clear how a hacker was able to access a private lobby for an esports final,
yeah, that's what I was going to say,
then give cheats to other players mid-match. It's also not known how widespread the issue could be and what the ramifications could be for others playing Apex Legends outside of esports. Twitter account Anti-Cheat Police Department, which reports on cheating in games. That's a great...
Yeah.
It's like they have a police department for just cheating in video games. There is currently an RCE, remote code execution, exploit being abused in Apex Legends. It is unsure whether it comes from the game or actual anti-cheat. Quote, I would advise against playing any games protected by EAC or any EA titles once they have fixed this or can comment. Currently, the RCE is being abused to inject cheats into streamers' machines. I love that he used that word inject just like you did. Mm-hmm. It's like, go out there and score for me.
Yeah.
Which means that they have the capabilities to do whatever, like installing ransomware software, locking up your entire PC. So yeah, this is a big deal.
I would have to imagine, like, it has to come from the inside, right? Someone maybe was trying to make the other team look bad, or like, I don't know. It's not a good look either way.
Well, it's Apex, so if it's a battle royale, isn't it just like a bunch of solos?
But if you're having a competition, isn't it like,
I don't know,
close? Like, I don't know.
I don't think it's worth it for anyone. Forrest says, I'm so good I could hack the Pentagon or give my favorite player aimbot. I know. The decision there is like really crucial. Like, you know, the obvious answer is to aimbot.
Yeah.
I want to see my favorite streamer win the competition. Now there is an update. Easy Anti-Cheat has responded. They've released a statement denying that its software is the source of the apparent vulnerability. We have investigated recent reports of a potential RCE issue with Easy Anti-Cheat, the company wrote on Twitter. At this time, we are confident that there is no RCE vulnerability within EAC being exploited. We will continue to work closely with our partners for any follow-up support needed. So they don't know where it's coming from. They don't know what happened.
I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Or we won't. I'm not following this at all.
Yeah, no, not me neither. When it happened, I was like, that's crazy. But it was like, I'm like, that's crazy. I went about my day. And then last up on the headlines, another rough one for Devro here. Devolver Digital.
Here we go.
What? It's rough because it's almost 10 o'clock and we need to get the show over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got you. Relax. It's fine. Devolver Digital, on an unrelated to Devro note, Devolver Digital is experimenting with physical releases. They went on to say the Talos Principle 2 is a special game for many reasons. It's not just a game whose art looks great on the PS5. It's not just a sequel to an award-winning puzzle game. It doesn't just feature interactive storytelling with multiple endings. It's not just an immersive, gorgeous game world. It's the first in our new Devolver Deluxe product line. We're continuing to work closely with developers to craft great collector's editions while allowing you the control of buying from the stores you like and getting the shipping you want. Devolver Deluxe's editions will begin featuring spine numbering, so this game will be DD001, include design elements that highlight their deluxe nature, and provide more information about the developers. This particular edition comes with a slipcase that holds the game, plus a full-color book with over 100 pages of incredible game art. Future editions may feature a collector's box, or a soundtrack, and other special items. The better these games do at retail, the more our Dark Overlord Fork Parker will allow us to give you these deluxe physical editions. Physical street date for North America is April 26th. But you can pre-order the games from your favorite stores now. Pre-ordering helps developers and Devolver the most. So Devro, physical media is going away, but we have Devolver Digital, a pretty well-known publisher. They're not like a top publisher in the industry that has never put out a physical game. They're experimenting with this physical run concept, and I'm definitely approve of it.
I think they're doing it the way that you said that they should do it, where go through pre-orders first, and then make the disc based off of that, which I think that'll be here for a little bit. It's not going to last that long. I don't think it will, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
I just think that there is a way to do physical into the future. And I think that what they're doing here sounds great. I also love, and this is how they get you, because Limited Run Games does the same thing. They number it. So like every physical release will be numbered. It's like, hey, this is number 1 in our line of physical releases.
Yeah. But I just show you how much...
Are you going to stop? You're going to do 2, then 3, then 4, then 5?
It just shows you how rare it's getting, though. Like, you're getting numbered copies. It is, though. Like, you're not...
No, not numbered. No, you're missing the point. It's not numbered in terms of how many copies. It's numbered that it's the first game in the line of physical releases. So everybody that buys Talos Principle 2, the deluxe edition or whatever they call it, every single one of those copies has the number 1 on the spine.
Okay.
Because it's the first game that they're doing physical.
Okay.
The next game that they do physical will have the number 2.
All right.
Exactly. It's not numbered in terms like these statues are numbered. Like they're numbered as in like, hey, this is our first release, second release, third release. This is great though. It's really cool. It is weird to me because I'm pretty sure the Talos Principle is on Xbox too, but they're only doing a PS5 physical release, so it makes me kind of sad. But it's a great game that I do want to play. So
people just have to buy those physical copies,
Yeah, for sure. So that's it for the headlines. Let's run through the game releases for the week of March 18th before we get out of here. Coming up tomorrow, Hades is coming to iOS. Hi-Fi Rush, the Xbox first-party games release of... I'm sorry, I messed up there. Hi-Fi Rush, the Xbox first-party game, is coming to PlayStation 5 tomorrow on March 19th. Lightyear Frontier comes out on Xbox Series consoles and PC, along with Game Pass tomorrow on the 19th. MLB The Show 24 comes to PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch tomorrow on March 19th. That's also a Game Pass title. Interesting on March 19th because that's a first-party PlayStation game. So tomorrow we have a game developed by PlayStation going on Xbox and a game developed by Xbox going on PlayStation. An interesting day for sure. Great day for Game Pass, by the way. Lightyear Frontier and MLB The Show, and probably a few other things I'd imagine, but I don't know. Alone in the Dark 2024 comes out PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on March 20th. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile comes out on iOS and Android on March 21st. That's a big release for them. It's going to link to your account so you can, have the same challenges and grind out your weapon gear and stuff on the go, and then you go play the game, and it's
still there. That's cool.
It links. Yeah. That's great for Call of Duty players. Like, if you just play Call of Duty, like, you're just going to be playing Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah.
When you're at home, you're going to be competitively playing. When you're not at home, you're going to be grinding your weapon guns, or your weapon camos, or your challenges on the apps, which is great. So next up for the releases on March 21st, Final Fantasy 14 is coming to Xbox. The releases have it as like 6 separate releases, which I'm guessing they're all the expansions, but all of them release on March 21st. So Final Fantasy 14 the MMO, on Xbox.
Okay.
Horizon Forbidden West PC port. Again, very weird week. First party games going everywhere.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West PC port comes out on March 21st. Midnight Ghost Hunt comes out on PC March 21st. And then on Friday, March 22nd, we have a huge week or a huge day first party releases with Dragon's Dogma 2 for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC.
That game looks so good.
It does. Princess Peach Showtime for Switch on March 22nd, and Rise of the Ronin on PlayStation 5 March 22nd. Devro, what a crazy week.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is like the first week of the year where it's like, this is actually like a really insane week. You got like all these games coming out at the beginning of the week that are like Xbox on PlayStation, PlayStation on Xbox. Final Fantasy 14 finally makes its debut on Xbox. And then they, that alone would be like a really interesting, crazy week.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the week, they're like, hey, like here's 3 really big, high-profile games coming out on the same day.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to get your pick of the week. So go ahead and hit me with it.
I'm playing B-roll of the demo for Princess Peach Showdown, I think it's called.
Yeah.
But my game of the week is Dragon Dogma 2. Okay. I think that game just looks like so much fun.
So I'm kind of torn here because going into this week, I wanted to pick Princess Peach Showtime, but I've actually heard that the demo was underwhelming and had some like frame rate issues. So, man, I think I'm still gonna go with it. But like, believe it or not, and this is kind of like crazy, I kind of want to go with Call of Duty Warzone Mobile.
Okay.
Just because I think from a concept standpoint, like, if you're a Call of Duty player and you grind your weapons and stuff, like, this could change how you play that game. Because it's like, instead of like on your free time at home, like, all right, like, cause it's happened to me like many times where like my friends are like, hey, what do you want to play? I was like, oh, I gotta play this because I gotta grind my weapon level up to get attachments or get camos that I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now it's just like, no, I'll just do that like when I'm at work and I'm on my lunch break. I'll just pop my phone out and play Call of Duty and grind some weapons then. So I don't know. That's my thought process.
It's a good week of releases when you have to choose.
Yeah, but you know what? I am going to go with Princess Peach because you didn't. And concept-wise, I'm still very intrigued by this game. And I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that the demo was just...
It's a demo.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt there. I mean, obviously, we're going to get reviews at some point this week. And, we'll be talking about it next week. But yeah, that's my pick of the week.
Okay.
All right, well, that's pretty much going to do it for us here. I mean, right now I'm playing, as we talked about earlier, I'm playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and I'm still working on trying to get my money's worth with Battlefront Classic Collection. Playing the single player. Basically what I'm doing is I'm sitting down and I'm playing Final Fantasy until my PS5 controller dies, and then I plug it in, and then I pick up my Xbox controller and I'm playing Star Wars until the PS5 controller is charged. That's what I've done. I was actually off the last 3 days. Because of just how my schedule shook out. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's just what I did. Like,
You go until the controllers die.
Yeah. So, like, I actually should have plugged it in before we started, but my PS5 controller is actually about to die, so I'm going to play Star Wars tonight. I'm going to hop back in on there and try to do more single-player stuff and achievements and stuff. But, yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
I'm playing Slay the Spire, but that's about it.
Are you?
My free time. I love that game so much. It's so much fun.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, I bought it on mobile because it was like it's a card game. It's a simple card game.
Yeah, right.
It was like $8, and I've just been playing like at least a match a day.
You would love Queen's Blood. I'm telling you, would love.
Yeah, you should. I watched you play it. It's an action.
Well, the thing is, I showed you that was like early gameplay.
Yeah.
Like when you get better and you face better opponents, like there's more things that you can do. And, like, there's cards with, like, more abilities. Like, what I showed you was, like...
The light, like
tutorial level stuff. Like, it's crazy. I love this game so much. It's great. I want the Yu-Gi-Oh! Treatment for this game. I want a show. I want games, real cards, merchandise. I want the whole thing for Queen's Blood. It's that good.
All right.
But, yeah, so that's what we're playing this week. We're going to keep playing that stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been episode... 58 of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to Ty, Forrest, and the other 6 people in chat. If you could hit that like button on your way out and subscribe, it would mean a lot to us. If you're not watching us live, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about Star Wars, the Battlefront Classic Collection, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, dev kits in the wild, or any of that stuff. If you like talking about video games, join our Discord, where we have great conversations all the time about video games and other things. For example, I posted in the Discord about the Star Wars The Acolyte trailer. It's coming tomorrow. That poster, a 10 out of 10 poster, if I ever did see one. I can't wait to watch this trailer tomorrow. I'm so stoked for it. It comes out June 4th or June 5th. So I'm not going to be watching Jeff Key 3, but I will be watching The Acolyte. That's for sure. So yeah, join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go play some Star Wars Battlefront where the servers don't work. So
have fun getting in.
See everybody later.
See you guys.